Do you want to be traded, or are you forced to say so? No, I really want to be traded. Not because I want to. I have family in Crimea. I want to go there, at least to see them. I've been in prison for 2 years. Do you voluntarily consent to the recording and publication of this video? Yes. Last name, first name, patronymic, date of birth. Where are you from? Vabakov Andrei Leonidovich, born in 1976, originally from Donbass, Seladovsky City Council. Well, of course, I served for 2 years in the Army of the Young Republic, the DPR. At the time when I went to serve there, yes, it was 2019-2020. I stand up for the offended. Have you changed your mind or not? I changed my mind. I didn't change my mind because I'm in prison. Why? I mean, I can see what's going on around me. What is the prison term? 5 years. 5 years. You received 5 years specifically for fighting on the side of the so-called DPR. Yes. There is nothing else in this verdict, so there is no point in reading it. By the way, do you mind me watching this? It's okay. It's your responsibility. Information. Responsibility. This is ordinary information. Did you fight in this, Somalia? Yes. Just, I served there first of all, I am there. Did you take part in hostilities? It's not written here. No, these were the years of the truce, 2019 and 2020. There is no point in reading this, you agree with everything, but where were you during the years of the truce? Well, in this military unit. Somalia squad has a military unit? Well, how should I put it, in this battalion? In the unit's location? At the location of the unit. And nothing happened. Well, there were artillery exchanges. Duels. Yes, it's called a duel. What years? 19th, 20th. Were there many killed and wounded, or artillery shelling? Well, in principle, it was even rare, shelling, about once a month. The situation is that Putin invaded supposedly because Ukraine bombed the Donbass very heavily. And you say, years of truce, but they lasted, in fact, until 2022. No. Did it get worse afterwards? There, here, 2022 is, of course, everything is different. It's like nothing else. Imagine 3 years of peace. Well, and the further you go, the quieter it gets, and then he decides to protect you when there is silence, silence and silence around. How is that? How do I say if I can express my opinion? Yes, sure, my opinion. Yes. The Russian military machine did not start right away. I remember there was a story that talked about dry rations, the expiration date of which was in 2015. Apparently, everything was planned for these dates, to get everything done somewhere in these years. Time passed, and they forgot about packed rations, and about many things and people. This is interesting, that is, in 2015 they were counting on. We are talking about Russian expansion. And where should Russian expansion end in 2015? Capture of Ukraine? I don't think so. They would have left the DNR and LNR as such principalities. Feudal, that is. No, not feudal. Like Transnistria, this is a living example. And how will this end? It seems to me that Russia has destroyed its metallurgical competitor, a very serious one. Donbass here is an industrial center of global importance. And they fired at Mariupol. They did it deliberately. They put a kind of bold point in Mariupol. And where exactly does it end? Well, it seems like it should have ended in Mariupol. This is not about conquering lands, but about destroying the energy component itself. The coal industry is a competitor. Your story doesn't really fit with the statement that Russia, as you said, was going to create a principality and then destroy it. What for? Russia has enough resources of all types. How to say? Why destroy production in your own principality? This means that production is not needed, it is outdated, it needs to be modernized, so much money needs to be invested in it, and most importantly, people need to be retrained. Even here, because I worked in the coal industry, I know how difficult it is for a person to retrain. It is difficult to adapt to other equipment, as well as to other techniques. That is, in order not to technologically update all this, it's easier not to modify it, just destroy the factories. Sell off assets. Sell off factories and all that. Yes, exactly. There is enough of everything in Russia. Russia has been melting steel differently for a long time. And this steel has long been sufficient for all needs. To all kinds of Zhiguli cars, and, in the end, to tanks, to pipes. Oil and gas pipes, that's all. And Ukraine interfered with her, as they say in Ukraine. Here it created serious competition for them, including in the pipe market. In 2014, were you at the pseudo-referendum? Crimean referendum, Crimean Spring? No, I wasn't there. Why? I don't remember how it happened. I was at my mother's house. Where? That is why. Where is the mother? Here in Donbass. There, in Seledovo. And so I stayed at her house, like this. The entire March referendum passed me by. But were you satisfied? Were you happy with what was happening? No, it didn't excite me at all. I was rather surprised by it. That there is some kind of sorting going on right on the station platform. When you get off the train, they ask you, where are you from? I automatically say, from Donbass. Well, here is the train, its number. That's all. Is this when you returned to Crimea? This was already during the Crimean Spring, March 2014. You were in Donbass. I was in Donbass, here, and I missed this referendum and am coming to Crimea. Immediately after the pseudo-referendum, he has already passed, and I arrived there, and here I feel that I have arrived. Something made me nervous. It's like sorting. Where are you from? Are you from Donbass? And how can I put it, get clearance? As I understand it, there is some kind of border here, in the underground passage. Here, these are not just boys in uniform. Did the boys in uniform ask this? They asked. Well, yes. Yes, in shape. The uniform was painted, with embroidered chevrons. Weapon? No. Those who approached people and, say, talked to them, asked questions, they had no weapons or anything. This is a common thing. A man approaches you. Yes, and he starts a conversation. But the problem is that Russians really like to talk about legality and so on. They behaved correctly, yes. But I realized that I was going through some kind of dress code, going through some kind of quest. Filtration, filtering, yes, sorting. I was interrogated by some people like that. Hello, what are your documents? They looked at the documents and let me through. Everyone can ask questions. Yes. You have the right to refuse the conversation. If you refused or said, I don't want to talk, what would happen? I don't know if I would have problems. This has happened before. One day I snapped and refused to talk. They're fast. They react to these things as if on command. They'll catch me. Who? As a matter of fact, there are many of them. They are different. If we talk about legality, which they like to talk about, then it should at least be law enforcement agencies. Or someone who has the appearance of these law enforcement agencies. I very much doubt that these were people from the authorities, because they were no longer in the same age category. It seems to me that they are no longer employees. Were they Cossacks? No, these were not Cossacks. They recruited some people, apparently. They were purely temporary. These were people who looked like vigilantes, a voluntary squad. There was something similar to this. Everything is under control. We will send our observers there and hold elections there. The law has already been adopted on the special status of Donbass. They were just waiting for these elections. Russia understands that. Okay, they will hold elections there and re-elect power. These may not be the people we appointed. Why do we need this? The most important thing for them is to stretch out the time. It is not clear why. On the other hand, to do what they did in 2022 in terms of annexation. Yes. They could have done it in the 14th. Yes. Do as they put it aside. Yes. So, apparently, they didn't need it. It is possible to send troops into Ukraine with a special status, perhaps, on the terms on which it would be beneficial to Russia. That is, to make Ukraine completely its own subordinate, so-called republic. They didn't need any other option. Because they needed to leave a festering situation in Ukraine, in which their electorate and protégés everyone votes exactly as they say. Thus, they would also receive support in the Verkhovna Rada. Did I explain clearly? Yes. Fine. They can't really agree on holding elections. They don't want to take them to Russia either, because, frankly speaking, no one needs them there. Several thousand military pensioners. Yes, and the destroyed infrastructure, and it is not clear what to do with it all. The mines that are currently not functioning, which you mentioned earlier. It's true, a lot of things have been destroyed, you're right. And in 2022, after 4 years of virtually no military action, all Russians say that the Ukrainians bombed the Donbass for 8 years. I have never heard anything like this from residents before. There were shellings in certain regions, both from Russia and Ukraine. It could have been different, that's true. There is plenty of evidence for this. But the great strategist in 2022 comes up with a brilliant plan to capture all of Ukraine. Because they didn't know what to do with Donbass. Let's take the residents of Donbass and send them to kill Ukrainians. Great plan, right? Yes, they wanted to do it with someone else's hands. Great, because from Donbass, I felt this, sorry to interrupt you, when I was on duty. We are like sheep here, we thought we were doing something important, but we were going to die. Now, yes. For the Russian leadership, even their regular military personnel are like sheep, and you are just a private. Some kind of incomprehensible element, to be honest. Yes, that's right. They told me how they were used as cannon fodder, for guidance. It really happened. This is their real goal. That's why they need you. Ukraine was not captured. It will not work. Like this. will not work. Do you know how many men have died in Donbass already? About 40,000? I don't know the exact number, but it's much more, believe me. Much more. Okay, it's all over now. That's the whole result after the annexation of Crimea and Russia's invasion of Donbass in the 14th year. An acquaintance told me. He works as a policeman, or rather a Russian policeman in the officer corps in the field of highway inspection. I mean, he's a profile cop. Do you think it will be like in Crimea in Donbass? Russian passports immediately? No, you will have to solve problems with these documents for a long, long time. For example, to change your driver's license and other documents. Not just passports, it's a very long process. So there's another important factor here. After all, the point isn't these nuances. The point is that it's all essentially, that's very sneaky. It's an anti-human story in and of itself. All of it. Completely. And the people, the common people, didn't need it. Neither in Donbass, nor in Crimea. Unless you take some particular groups of people there. Certain groups of people who have had their lives broken, had to leave their homes and move away, you know? Sure. Millions of people. Yes, millions. There is no excuse for this. You must understand this. Yes, you are right. Okay, we've been talking for quite a long time. Do you know what the point is? I just understand now. The point is, do I want to go for an exchange? Right? I understand that there is nothing to talk about with you at all. Yes, that's right. That is. You served in the Somalia detachment, and in general, you are here. How were you captured? I was not taken prisoner. It is a habit. I returned to Donbass, to my place of residence, and began to live. Where? In which place? In Seladovo, in my homeland. Seladovo was under occupation, right? No. In the 21st year, in the summer of the 21st year, all territories were controlled by Ukraine. The war was roaring somewhere far away. How and where did they find out that you fought? That is, served in the Somalia detachment. I think the information was taken from there. I think this is how I got revenge. They took petty and mean revenge. It's those people. Do you know why? I simply did not renew my contract with them. You have the Russian world in all its glory. Yes, that was exactly that. Here, in places of detention, I talked with one very serious person, and he immediately exclaimed, "Are these the ones who don't abandon their own?" I say, yes, that's exactly them. They simply saved you from having to say this. They didn't abandon you. Yeah, well, they didn't. What can I do? I'm staying here. They could easily convey information. You know, I even somehow. They could convey information in absolutely any way. I even know how they did it. They came to you and said, "Good afternoon." Yes, that's pretty much how it happened. What you say is correct. As in the best traditions. It's clear. That's how it was. You understand everything. The security service of Ukraine came to you, right? Yes. This is their job. This is their responsibility. You have broken the law. I understood everything. What time did you get? 5. 5 years. Asking you about your motives is absolutely useless, because everything is clear. Yes, you can say that. Do you now want those people who don't abandon their own to take you for an exchange? But it will be interesting to see how they react to this. I am laughing. Yes. Here, go ahead and tell them. Why would I do this? Let them think what they want. Don't want to contact us? It's their business. I wrote to them about the exchange 4 times, if not more. I have already repeatedly raised the issue of exchange. And nothing. They are probably just ashamed, as I understand it. What kind of exchange could there be in this case? How embarrassing is that? What are you talking about? How can you use the word shame in relation to Russians? They have no shame, no conscience, no morals, no honor, nothing. Here you go. You were used, and then you were also betrayed. Yes, they gave it up as unnecessary. It's clear. Would you like to add anything from yourself? No. As far as I know, you were made a janitor here. Is it because your article is for separatism? Or is this completely unrelated? Yes, because of this too. What is the attitude of ordinary prisoners towards those who have an article for separatism? In fact, they hate us. Hatred? Yes. What kind of attitude could there be? Wait, please, there was, in front of you. I realized who it was. What's his last name? Karpenko. Yes. He aimed missiles at Kramatorsk. And what does he say? He says that only the Ukrainian authorities have a negative attitude towards you. I suggested that he go to the city and ask people how they would react to his actions, but for some reason he doesn't want to. The people sitting here had a negative attitude towards me. How did they react to him? Apparently, they only needed one cleaner. You were the first to arrive. They quenched the thirst for revenge. That's right, I went first. They quenched the thirst for revenge. That's all. When did you stop by? Exactly a year ago, approximately. I don't remember exactly. Year, more. Did you get 5 years? Yes. You got 5. In 4 you will be free. Yes, something like that. I would ask you something else, but, as I understand it, you don't have any special pro-Russian sentiments. There is very little chance that they will take you away. I can tell you a lot of pro-Russian things. I can come up with something. You know, let's not come up with anything. There is no point. That is, you can, if you want, say whatever you want, but we, of course, have already talked quite a lot. Tell me, did you serve in the Somalia detachment? They served. Are you on their side? On their side. Are you from Crimea? From Crimea. By the way, do you have a Russian passport? Have you changed your passport? No, I have Ukrainian passports. And it doesn't add up. Didn't you want to get their passport? Or would it be necessary to abandon Ukrainian? Yes, there you need to give a Ukrainian passport in exchange for a DPR passport. I speak for the Crimean passport, not for the DPR passport. Crimean. Well, Russian. Crimean. I didn't receive Russian. To get it, do you need to pass Ukrainian? No, the Crimeans left Ukrainian passports. They are all in the hands of the owners. Could you go and get a Russian passport? No, for people who are not from Crimea. They had a completely different approach. First, take money from them. And secondly, your family is from Crimea. Yes. Wife. Yes. By the way, how did she react to this? Are you communicating with her? They needed registration. I understand. I am registered in Donbass. You could register with your wife. This was no longer possible after Crimean Spring. And then the walk through torment began. In what sense? After the Crimean Spring, they blocked the ability to register? Yes, foreigners. Do you still have a wife? Yes. Do you have children too? Adults? Pupils? Are you contacting them? Are you allowed to communicate? No, now is not the best time for this. We can get in touch. No need. In your case, for some reason I think it would be quite fun. No, not now. It'll be fun once I've done my time. Your wife will take a look. Say hi to her. Say hi to my wife. That's when it all started. Let it be. Hello. And then this ordeal began. It was necessary to obtain a temporary residence permit. Be sure to take the Russian language test. Russia has arrived, with all its delights. Yes, they wanted to shake money out of us. They have a whole milking complex there. Did you need to bribe someone? It's good that I understand all these things. Give bribes, that's right. If only I could pay the money and resolve the issue. It turns out that you only pay money officially, quite a tidy sum. They call it service. Payment for services, if I'm not mistaken. That's how they do it. Yes, legal. To hand over the money and leave? Yes. It costs about 5,000 rubles to pass a language test, and many companies quickly joined in to issue certificates to people. I don't even know. You paid some company a certain amount of money in order to go and take the Russian language test. And it turns out that it really works? Yes, this is all real. I would show you these certificates. It's real. This is done by the Leningrad Pushkin University. Perhaps their company simply operates under the name of the university. That's horrible. Yes, they are just scammers who deceive people. After all, many people simply do not know Russian laws. They took and gave the person a list of documents, so he goes. What is the list of documents? So. Statement. I didn't hear this. No. I mean, besides passing the Russian language, was there anything else that was required? Certificates from narcologists and psychiatrists. Pass a medical examination. Medical examinations, certificates. It was not a medical examination, it was the purchase of a certificate. Remember how in the Middle Ages people bought indulgences. The Vatican then became very rich from this. So this trick works now. Listen, the USSR didn't go anywhere. Remember, in the 70s, in order to buy a car, you had to have money to buy it. And it wasn't enough to stand in line for 5 or even 10 years. For this car, you also had to have a certificate stating that you have the right to drive. Yes, I remember. What year are you? 76th year. You may not remember the 76th, but you may have heard or read about it. It was impossible to get the magazine, Za Rulam, without the recommendation of the city committee. Well, they want the USSR, they really like it. Well, here are all these signs. This trick originates from the Soviet Union. Yes, in fact, it's nothing that could theoretically be good in the Soviet Union was inherited, and everything that was most negative was taken away. All the tricks and gimmicks. That's right, that's what they call tricks. And what else? What else was the trick? To get a temporary residence permit stamp in your passport. I had to hand over my passport. That is, for a month. And that's it. A person without a passport, that is, not functional in society, without a passport you cannot get a job. Okay, we can survive a month. They've been stealing for a month. They give a residence permit for 3 years, but they steal the month while they have their passport. They promise to issue a visa on the day you submit your passport, but they just waste time. After all, a passport is issued not on the day the residence permit is received, but on the day the passport is submitted. That works out to 2 years and 11 months. Functional for only 2 years and 11 months. This is also a kind of theft of money and time. It's horrible. They don't let me work. It's amazing how well thought out their plans are. They prevent you from entering the labor market. You are a foreigner, an alien for them. Why do they need this? They just want to push out the Ukrainians from Crimea. After all, they need people. They have a demographic crisis. People come there. People from Bashkiria, Buryatia, Abkhazia and other regions come there. So many different people can come there. I'm not saying it's bad. These are domestic Russian labor migrants. But these are absolutely controllable people. You can do anything with them. Right. Yes. These are migrants without rights. Yes. And all the inconvenient, too smart people. Go there. Why aren't you fighting in Donbass? In 2016, I started working in this structure, and I heard so much of this negativity addressed to me. Why are you hiding here from the war? Why aren't you fighting for the DPR? It was the same there as here, but it was a prison. Now I'm in prison. There is moral aggression and similar things here, and it was the same there, in freedom. Moral aggression is not just like that. Missiles are flying at us from Russia, and you fought for Russia. And it was the same at large. These were intelligent citizens with engineering and technical specialties. Everything is clear here. It turns out that this is how I was perceived. Judging by your story, they didn't really want to save you. Propaganda controls people there. There you can hear this whining from every iron. That's what I call it. The control of the media by government agencies and intelligence agencies is one of the signs of a totalitarian regime. There is no need to prove this. It's clear. Although for a pro-Russian viewer this is not at all obvious. But what you're saying about these certificates that you have to pay for is really interesting. Yes, since I'm from the DPR. They later realized this. There is a part of the independent Donbass, but there is a part of the Donbass that is still Ukrainian. And for them the same price as for Ukrainian citizens. And it happened that they gave me a discount, not 5,000, but 3,000. As a citizen of an occupied territory? Yes, I'm from Donbass, sort of. And then they realized that your city is not occupied? Yes, this happened at Tauride University. At the university, right on the territory of the Vernadsky Tauride University, there was a company issuing certificates. I don't know if it was part of the university, but they could rent an office there. And there the girl quickly found my city on Google Maps. Oh, so you were from Ukraine. The price is different for you. This is your rate. Did she check on Google Maps? Well, somehow, I don't know. They should have some kind of list or table. Yes, they have it. Yes, they have it. That is, they view us as a different type of product, something like this. We are second or third class for them. There was even an anecdotal incident. Well, because they worked at the airport. A person with a Crimean passport, who had a passport with him, we sent one boss to go through some kind of system where a guard was stationed. He was not allowed in with that passport. And until they called the head of the airport service, who looked, oh, the passport is Russian, but Crimean. Even with Crimean passports, Russians or Crimeans are considered ineligible for entering certain zones. Apparently, there was such a case at the airport. Yes, it was my immediate boss who ran to certify some documents, or to get consent to let the excavator through or release it from the territory. Such purely production little things. We got stuck then. Russian Crimean passport. It turns out he was not fit to go there. I understand that you can talk about this for a long time. But, as I initially said, we cannot prolong the interview. No. But, let's end the interview with this certificate in Russian. They protect him everywhere. But, and so, you need what to submit? Dictation? There. What's happening? Something like the Unified State exam. There are questions about language, but questions about language are in conjunction with questions about the basis of the state. Questions about the number of districts and regions, how the State Duma is structured, and how the Federal Assembly is structured. All. This is understandable. You must know everything about Russia and must know the language. But then you come and say, I want to pass the exam. Yes? You are invited and told, hey, darling, we are protecting you. We are. Let me hug you. Well, yes. This is true? Yes. Let's say so. I clearly saw the situation during such an exam, when the examiner. The exam is conducted online with this university. And the examiner. It's a girl. She walks around with a folder and gives tips to the guys of Eastern nationality. Probably, those who have a hard time with language. Apparently the guy is from Uzbekistan, also Tatars, and the rest. And it helps. Helps out. The man writes clearly, and yet I still see out of the corner of my eye that he didn't pass. This man failed Russian. It's clear. The Uzbek citizen did not pass this test. And in order to get to all these exams, what do you need to do and where do you need to pay? You didn't explain. I want to understand. This is the Federal Migration Service, to which you apply for a temporary residence permit or residence permit. And subsequently for citizenship. They have their own definition of what documents need to be collected and why. They give this list. Please. HIV certificate, certificate from a narcologist. Also, comprehensive medical commission. Further, it's all money and money. Do I need to pay for each certificate? Of course, quite large amounts. Official transfers through the bank. Are there unofficial payments? No. I paid the bank and went through. And the fee is several thousand rubles. Duty. We've sorted out the certificates, let's move on. To the tax office. I was already the owner of this RVP. I received this tax number. TIN. So, further, you still have to pass. You also need to pass the Russian language. What do I need to do? You need to contact one of. They are listed there, and you can catch them there. Addresses are provided. I think at that time there were 2 centers. The centers that issue these certificates certify people in Russian. And I immediately realized that this was a sign. Federal something is there, but in fact it works very poorly. And strangely enough, you go to this establishment. Do you pay for the exam? Yes, I pay at the bank. What is the price? More than 5,000. 5,000 rubles is not enough. This is a temporary residence permit, then a residence permit too. Even higher rank. And you also need to apply for citizenship. Certificate. That is, by. It's clear. This was a brief overview of help from Russia for the deprived, unfortunate residents. In this case, Donbass. Help. Protection. And love. So,